Welcome back, everybody. Episode 4 of the MC Hour. I'm your host, Caleb MC, with my co-host, Andrew Chrisman. Andrew, how you doing today?
Doing fantastic, sir. How are you?
Just peachy. So what we got this week for you guys? We're just gonna run through it. We're gonna talk about Andrew has a beef with the dunk contest from last week's All-Star game. The Nets got Blake Griffin on a cheap one-year deal. Can they beat the Lakers? Moving on to baseball, Jackie Bradley Jr. moving on from the Red Sox, going to the Milwaukee Brewers on a 2-year, $24 million contract. And Andrew has another original thought for you that baseball is not a dying sport, contrary to most belief. And we move into the NFL, obviously the most popular sport of them all. Dak Prescott finally gets his new deal, 4 years, $160 million, $126 million guaranteed. He makes about $75 million in the first year. We'll dive into that a little bit more as we get there. We're going to talk about all the players that got franchise tagged. And we'll play a little game for you when we get there. And then I have a pretty longer segment about the Patriots offseason. Obviously, they just traded for Trent Brown, offensive tackle. And there's rumors in the quarterback markets that have come out in the last week. So we'll get there when we get there. And then an end segment you're not going to want to miss. So yeah, Andrew, let's just kick it off. What's your beef with the All-Star game and the dunk contest?
Well, the All-Star game I don't really have too much of a beef with. The 3-point contest, the skills challenge, that was all fine, and the game was actually entertaining. I watched the first half, and shout out to my boy Giannis winning MVP. But that was fine. It's just the dunk contest in the All-Star games are so awful now. It's horrible. The last like 2, 3, there's nobody that anybody knows. It's just all these like rookies who are trying to get, which I get, they're trying to get their names out there, which is fine. But I watched like there was not one good dunk that a whole dunk contest, and I watched like a half an hour, and like even the players, you if you watch that dunk contest, the players are just like don't care. They're like this is like it's there's nothing going on. I know that stars don't want to do it, like LeBron and probably Giannis and all them probably don't want to do the dunk contest anymore. However, it's like the NBA needs to find a way to not even get those crazy good stars like LeBron, just guys who are decent. Like I don't like. Aaron Gordon is one, but he did it a couple of times. But just get like Damian Lillard in there. So just get somebody who's a good enough star because it's so boring watching the dunk contest now. It's not. No one cares anymore. Even the fans there. It was a boring, and I think it was unnecessary that they even did the All Star game this year. But that was just my opinion. That's just
And
me.
LeBron's.
So and LeBron's right, and even though LeBron looked like he was having a great time there, so who knows, man? But
He'd
yeah, the
probably
dunk
still rather not
contest
do it,
is
but
no.
smiles
The
sells.
dunk contest is a joke. So don't watch it. Don't support dunk contests anymore. That's just my opinion. 2000 dunk contest, greatest of all time. Vince Carter.
A couple of
That's
years,
all.
like when LeBron and Wade were in Miami, didn't they do it?
No,
I
LeBron
want to
has
say that
never done a
they
dunk
had one
contest.
season where they did that, but I could be
I
wrong.
don't remember. I don't think LeBron's ever done a dunk contest. He may have done one. I don't remember, but it doesn't matter. It's just a joke.
The
There's
days of
no
Vince
stars
Carter
that
are
do it.
over.
Yeah, 2000. I said I'll go, I don't care. People think I'm crazy. My friends think I'm crazy. 2000 greatest dunk contest of all time. Just that Vince Carter performance. There will never be anything better than that. I don't care what anyone says. So that's just my statements on
My
that.
beef with the dunk contest is when I was a kid and you play those 2K games. The dunk contest was impossible to do for me.
Oh, I could. Oh, I
I
know.
get
I
so
still can't.
frustrated,
I still can't do them.
and I haven't bought a 2K game since. Um,
That's,
so
it's not good.
let's dive into the meat and potatoes of this NBA discussion. Blake Griffin signs a 1-year, $1.2 million deal with the Brooklyn Nets. He'll be a free agent at the end of the year because I don't know if Brooklyn wants to keep him long term. But obviously, Blake Griffin's kind of taken a bit of a downfall since being traded away from the Clippers. Obviously, he's not the same guy he was with Chris Paul. And then he got traded to the Pistons for, I forget what the trade was. That was a long time ago. And now he took a pretty harsh fall to the bottom. He signs with the Nets, and maybe they can get whatever he has left out of him to win a championship. And when you look at the Nets, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin now. I'm probably missing a couple other names.
Harden.
James Harden. That's right. See how
There you go.
that's how much I'm into basketball. But yeah, James Harden's a big one. Can they beat the Lakers with LeBron and AD? What's your take on the new look Brooklyn Nets? I feel like it's a like a melting pot of egos waiting to explode.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean the Nets are not doing bad. Obviously, I mean I think they're the 2 seed currently in the East, but I mean the East is awful. I mean my Bucks are just they're terrible. There's no good
Celtics can't
teams in the
decide
East.
if they want to be
The
good or not.
Sixers are just the Sixers. They're not. It's the Sixers. But however, I mean, Blake Griffin is good. Don't get me wrong. He's not a star anymore. He'll be a good, if he's a 6-man or if he starts, he's not a bad option. He's not. I know he wants to win, and I get that. However, the Nets, I don't get into the Nets hype because Kyrie Irving's just hurt all the time, and he's crazy.
Nutcase, yep.
KD's just always hurt now throughout the season, and James Harden is just James Harden. James Harden is, I'm sorry if people don't agree, but Harden is the most overrated player in the NBA, personally. So I don't believe the hype. I think the Lakers are still going to win the title. They're not going to stop LeBron. LeBron's LeBron. AD's going to come back. The Lakers are a better team than they were last year. So I don't see them. Yeah, I don't see them losing to the Nets. No, I don't.
It kind of seems like for a lot of people, it's a foregone conclusion that the Lakers kind of run the West.
Yeah.
I think that you see this a lot now in basketball where some teams decide that the free agency is the way to go instead of doing the casual build up the team through the draft. Get these, you have like 1 or 2 stars on your team. Like when you look at Milwaukee, you have Giannis and what's his name?
Middleton.
That's right. And those are both I think they're both homegrown talents. I think Giannis came up through your system, and so did Middleton.
Yeah, Middleton got traded quickly. Yeah, early on in his career, he came from Detroit. Yeah, early on.
So that's how Milwaukee kind of came about, and the Celtics obviously. I don't think there's anybody on that team right now that wasn't drafted by them. In that starting 5, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Tice, Pritchard, those are all the big guys on the Celtics right now.
Right.
But again, you can tell how much I watch basketball. But and Houston in recent years when they got Russell Westbrook, sort of they traded for him in that huge deal, but it was kind of like a free agency signing almost. You gave up picks or whatever, but picks don't really matter in the NBA right now. As much as Danny Ainge for the Celtics likes to hoard them. So yeah, you see a bigger impact on players almost at will deciding where they want to go. And Brooklyn has seemed to be the destination this year. How far do you think the Nets make it with how many stars they have? I think if they're all together, an NBA Finals run is not out of reach. I think the finals are very doable for them. They are the best team in the NBA as far as talent goes. Like when you have Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant, and possibly now Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, all working together.
Right. I mean,
there's no team on paper that's better than that.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong.
But you deal with all the ego. Kyrie Irving starting a fight in the locker room because the earth is flat. Kevin Durant defending himself on Twitter with burner accounts. James Harden deciding if he wants to eat, a whole Boston cream cake in the locker room. And, Blake Griffin deciding if he wants to play like he's 34 or if he's 29.
Oh my goodness.
That team is just kind of right. It's a roller coaster of emotions on that team.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't think that the odds are in their favor of playing together?
I mean, it depends. It depends. First of all, if they go into the playoff if everyone's healthy, because they're never healthy. Every time I see a Nets game on ESPN, somebody's sitting out. Every time someone's out. I mean, I could see them going to the finals because the only really threat before the season of going to the finals, if that's them not going, was the Bucks. And we are awful this year. So not awful, but just not what we're supposed to be. So I don't see the Bucks really beating the Nets. I hope we do. I really hope we do, but we probably won't. Sixers, I think, are overhyped. I don't think the Sixers are really that
Especially
that
now with the
great.
COVID scare of Ben Simmons and Joel
Yeah,
Embiid.
right, exactly. So I mean, I think the Nets have an easy path if the Bucks aren't the Bucks like we know in the last couple of years. So
So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna name the top 6 teams, not naming the Nets in the East,
mhm.
and you tell me if you think that the Nets, if they're gonna beat the Nets, all right?
If they're gonna beat the that
Yeah,
team's gonna beat the
just
Nets,
straight
yeah,
up.
okay.
The Philadelphia
No,
76ers, 24-12, best team in the East. Yes or
no.
no?
I,
No.
I don't think they do. I think they're gonna. I think the second half they're not gonna be as strong. I think they're really overrated.
Milwaukee Bucks, 22-14, 2 games back of the top seed.
I mean, I'm a diehard Bucks fan. I'm gonna say yes, even though I probably shouldn't, because the way that we are this year, we're not good. But you know what? For all the Milwaukee people in Wisconsin, I'm going yes because I'm a Bucks fan. So yeah, I mean, we can if Giannis, if everyone's on their game, especially Giannis, the way he's been playing, well, we can beat the Nets.
Number 4, or number 3 on the list, number 4 on the standings. The Boston Celtics on a 4-game win streak, 19-17, 5 games back at the top spot.
That one's tough
I
because
think if the Celtics put it together, they could.
yeah, I
But
mean that's the thing.
they're
If
kind of
high,
riding that roller coaster of
right.
inconsistency.
If the Celtics go in hot, that's the thing. But the Celtics have so many streaks. They're either cold or they're hot. Like
Or they're on a
never
4-game
just
win
like,
streak
oh,
like they are now.
okay, yeah. So it depends. Personally, I'm gonna go no because of how they've been so 50-50 this year. But I could see them getting hot in the playoffs and knocking them out. But if I had to choose an answer, I'd say no.
And up next, the New York Knicks, 19-18, 1-game win streak.
Knicks?
Yeah, they're surprisingly good this year.
The fact that the Knicks are in the playoff on their 19-18 that's the East. No.
No.
God no. It's the Knicks.
And last year's Miami Heat champion to knock it out. The East champion, Miami Heat, 18-18, 1-game win streak. I love the Miami Heat, but what's going on?
I know people are probably going to disagree with this, and I have a lot of buddies that disagree about this when I bring it up, but the Heat not being that great this year, I think, kind of shows the effect of the bubble, honestly. I mean, they were hot in the bubble.
They
and
were
they
a fun
were
team.
Good. And now it's like, okay, now they're back. Like, they're basically the same team as they were, and they're just this year. They'll probably make the playoffs as a 7th or 8th seed, but they're not going to do anything, no.
And I didn't mention this when I was going through the topics that we were going to roll through, but now that we're on the Miami Heat, I'm sure you saw the video of Myers Leonard on the Twitch stream. I'm not going to say what he said.
No.
But he did say an anti-Semitic slur, and he's away from the team. Odds are he's going to get cut.
Probably.
What athletes just got to be careful, dude. They have to be more careful.
I know. I agree.
So what do you think would be a fit punishment for him? Do you think he should get cut?
I mean, the thing is, though, I don't even know how much he plays for the Heat. I don't really watch any teams.
I want to say he's
Bucks,
the starting
really.
center, but I'll take a look right now.
I think. Talking. I mean, I agree with him getting cut because of that. However, there's athletes who do just as worse. For example, not trying to bash teams or anything because people will listen, but there's a lot of Chiefs players that should not be on the team right now after all like the domestic abuse cases and things like that. So there's people who do just as bad things and haven't been cut. So, however, in the NBA there hasn't been as much, I think, as like NFL. So if this is the first case in a while, so I could see him getting cut. I mean, they're not good this year. I mean, they're not that great.
Oh, he's not even. Never mind. He's not as good of a player as I thought he was. He's averaging 3 points a game, but 9 minutes a game. But
he'll probably get cut.
He'll get cut for performance and saying that. But
Yeah,
I do just want to say shout out to Patriots' own Julian Edelman. He did post something on Instagram today, and
he's a legend.
I'll read through what he said. Obviously, Edelman, a Jewish man himself. He's done this a lot. Well, remember when Deshaun Jackson said that thing about how Jews were in the world and whatever, and like he got a lot of crap for it. Edelman actually invited Deshaun Jackson to the Holocaust Museum, and he wanted to like discuss everything and like clean stuff up. And Edelman added again here in an open letter to Myers Leonard. He says, "So we've never met. I hope we can one day soon. I'm sure you've been getting lots of criticism for what you said. Not trying to add to that. I just want to offer some perspective. I get the sense that you didn't use that word out of hate, more out of ignorance. Most likely, you weren't trying to hurt anyone or even profile Jews in your comment. But that's what makes it so destructive. When someone intends to be hateful, it's usually met with great resistance. Casual ignorance is harder to combat and has greater reach, especially when you command great influence." Again, there's no real influence with Myers Leonard. But hate is like a virus. Even accidentally, it can rapidly spread. I'm down in Miami fairly often. Let's do a Shabbat dinner with some friends, and I'll show you a fun time. Noted, Julian Edelman. Man, Edelman's, he's always doing stuff like this. And, just shout out to Edelman. Always, as much criticism as Myers Leonard deserves, I'm glad that he offered to shine some light, not be aggressive, because he could have, and it would have been warranted. But Edelman chooses to take the high road and moving off of this discussion. So I'm glad that we could leave discussion on a high note. That hopefully he takes his offer from Edelman.
Should.
And I'd love to hear the story that comes out of this, but that's enough basketball. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, NBA, yeah.
So we're going to talk about Jackie Bradley Jr. going to your team, the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yes, sir.
How you feeling about that?
I mean, I like the signing. He's a great player. With like Lorenzo Cain, he's going to be hurt all year. He's getting old. Ryan Braun ain't coming back, I don't think. So the thing is though, what I'm kind of confused is 2 years, $24 million he gets to opt out in the first year if he wants to, which is a nice option for him. However, the Brewers have 8 outfielders on their depth chart right now trying to make the major league roster. We like, not that we didn't need Jackie Bradley Jr., but like we have 8 outfielders. It's like, do we need him? Like, the Brewers and outfielders are just, every year we get a new outfielder for some reason. I don't know why. The last, 5 years, it's just been straight outfielders. But, I mean, he's good. He had a solid year last year. I think, we have 3 Gold Glove defensive players now, which is awesome. I'm just hoping that he should be able to hit Milwaukee. I mean, he played in Boston.
He's coming off of one of his better years hitting.
Exactly.
In a condensed year.
Right.
But he hit 283.
Exactly. Yeah, and and then he doesn't have the green monster in left field anymore. You know what I mean? So
right.
that's huge. But yeah, personally, I really like the signing. I think that he's going to fit in great here. He gets to play along Yelich and Kane, who's a veteran as well. So 3 Gold Glove outfielders in Milwaukee, baby. I like the sound of that. That's all I'm saying.
And just to touch on it from a Red Sox perspective, obviously Jackie Bradley Jr. was great for us, defensively anyway. Hitting was always an issue. It wasn't until he got to work with J.D. Martinez on a swing that he started to hit anything worth consistency. And even then, last couple of years, he was teetering off until the condensed season. Personally, I'm not as mad about him leaving as I am Benintendi, because he is 30. He's been in the league for about 7-8 years now. So it does suck to see them go. Again, our outfield for the last couple of years was amazing with Mookie Betts, Benintendi, and JBJ.
That's nuts.
And all of a sudden, all of them are gone in a matter of a couple of years, right after we won the World Series. Not a great feeling to see the Red Sox go through such a image change. Now Xander Bogaerts is the old man on the field, not counting pitchers. Like, he's the only guy left from that 2013 World Series team. Pedroia's gone. JBJ's gone. Obviously, Pedroia retired. Poppy's gone. that whole 2013 team is just not in Boston anymore besides Andy. So, that sucks. But JBJ, we were going to bring him back. I wasn't going to bring him back for that much money. You guys are more than welcome to. You guys can pay him. You guys can pay him $12 a year, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't agree with the payment that much, but it could be a 1 year thing. So it's we're not going to win anything this year anyway, so it
Don't think
doesn't
so?
really matter. No, God, no. We have no
What they have
pitching.
you as a percentage of making the playoffs? Besides, because I know the Orioles was
I'm.
0. What
It's
about?
weird because, like, from what I've seen, I don't know the exact percentage, but like MLB had the Brewers winning the division, and I'm like,
And you guys are in the
I
same division as the
the
Cardinals, right?
Cardinals,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, okay, I appreciate that. Could we get a wild card spot? Maybe. But I don't think we will. I mean, the Cardinals are going to win that division, no problem. I don't know where they're getting that percent. We literally don't have any pitching. We have one pitcher. That's it.
One pitcher.
And we have one starting pitcher, and like, I mean, Hader's okay still. I think we're going to trade him. And then Devin Williams had, it was only 60-game year, so who knows if he's really that good? But hoping he is. So we just don't have the pitching to beat the Cardinals. And no.
And yeah, I'm right there with you. The Cardinals are that team. But we're gonna move on to your original thought, your debate of the day. We haven't named this segment yet, but we will. You have a problem with people saying that baseball's dead.
I hate
or
it.
a dying
I
sport.
hate it.
So kind of formulate for me. What's the argument here? What are you trying to present?
Yeah, I mean, people always say baseball is dying. I mean, this is the one thing. I'm kind of gonna agree to some parts, but overall, I do not agree. I mean, the arguments that viewership is down currently, which it is. It's been down. Like there's legit proof that viewership has been down in the last couple of years.
And it's blatantly obvious when you go to Marlins Park and nobody's in the stands.
Well, yeah, because there's like 3 Florida teams. They don't need the Marlins there. I think it's down because I've seen in like older generations compared to our generation, our generation has no patience at all to watch sports. Like they need constant action.
Our
Like
attention span is very small.
right. So like hockey, football, like it's basketball, it's back and forth. They need that constant action. While baseball, the reason why I love it so much is because it's like there's no time limit. Pitcher can take as long as he wants. I was a pitcher. I love taking time. I that's what I always did.
David Price.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to take however long I want to throw the ball. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, I got better in high school, but like growing up, I always took my time. I loved to do it, just kind of knowing batters and timeout and things like that. But I don't know. I've never understood it because it's like I've loved how you get like it could be the bottom of the ninth. You're like, oh, it's top of ninth. You're like, oh, I'm just gonna waste the clock out and hold it to the last shot in basketball or football. Hold it and kick a field goal to win it. No, you can't do that in baseball. You have to give that other team a chance.
No, you probably get fired. Yeah.
That's why I love baseball so much because you have to give that team a shot. There's no time involved. It's all mental game, which is crazy. It's just hard because a lot of people say baseball is it's too long. It's too long of a thing.
The games have gone up in time.
It's true. It has. They have.
I saw something that Red Sox games are pushing like 3.5, 4 hours.
Right. But the thing is though is that if you watch like an NFL game, they're basically baseball's maybe 10, 15 minutes longer than football is. It's like. And football has more commercials, so I'm like, I don't understand where that baseball's too long. It's like it's literally the same, almost same exact time as the America's.
I think a lot of people just they feel that it's taking much longer than football because in football you have a play, if you run a play, you have 30 seconds to get the next play off, so on and so forth.
Right.
And given with the commercials, there's a lot of in-game production too, with graphics and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and again, there's things baseball need to do. For example, I have MLB TV, and I can't watch Brewer games because
that's messed up. I have NHL TV. They have the same thing where I can't watch NESN. And I have YouTube TV, and NESN's not on YouTube TV anymore. They took it off. So I have to go onto NHLBite.com or download a VPN and watch the NESN there.
Right.
And my good friend Chad Finn of the Boston Globe has written extensively about YouTube TV's dispute with NESN, and it doesn't look like we're going to get it anytime soon.
No,
but
probably not.
That's just greedy TV networks being greedy TV networks. But
yeah,
again, when we talk about baseball being a dying sport, in what context are they talking about baseball being a dying sport? Because people are still playing. There are a lot of people, like Boston. Just as an example, there's not much else to do in Boston besides go to Fenway on August 8th in the middle of the day.
Right. I need to go to Fenway so bad. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah, come visit. We'll take you around. We'll show you around.
I'm down. I mean, that's the thing with like the Brewers. Like, you know, we've never won anything here. They've never, you know, there's never really been much success here. The Brewers could win 30 games a year, and people would still sell out Miller Park. People are still gonna go. Well, not Miller Park anymore. Whatever it is, I forgot the name change. But people, I would still go to Brewer games if they won 30 games. I don't care. I just want to watch baseball in person. Baseball in person, I think is. I've been to football games in person. Football games in person are not that great. They're really not.
Oh, that's where we're gonna have an argument.
I mean,
where have you been for football games? Tell me where you've been for football games.
I've been to 2 Lucas Oil Stadium games, Broncos versus Colts, 2 games. And they're not bad. It's not bad. It's just there's so much downtime, dude. It's like which is their media timeouts, but it's like they're on the field for 2 minutes not moving. It's like, okay, after a kick return, it's like, okay, can we get it going? Like, I don't know. I like the NFL like in person, but it's not. I like baseball. Baseball, I think, is the best to watch in person.
I just want to make sure you weren't talking smack about going to a football game live, because I went to Gillette Stadium. It was 30 degrees out. It was freezing. I was in the nosebleeds. All right, it was cold.
Right.
Week 17, 2008, 2019, when we beat the Jets 38-3. It was Gronk's last home regular season game in Gillette before he went and retired and then went to Tampa. That was like the best day of my life, and I was freezing. I don't know what you're talking about with football having a boring in-person experience. Gillette Stadium is like, that's the best sporting. It's second best sporting event I went to. First was TD Garden, for a Bruins game, but I had some amazing seats. But
yeah, I mean, I'm not saying football is boring. I just think baseball in person is better. That's just me.
I would
personally. I mean,
it's equal. It's equal to me.
It's hard.
I think it's about equal.
Yeah.
Fenway was a fun, and I am very privileged to live in Boston, to live near Boston and have Fenway in my location. As expensive as the tickets are, because for whatever reason, people want to go see a bad team, but
it's just the history there. Everybody, I mean, I want to go to a game.
Oldest baseball stadium in the league. And they legally can't tear down Fenway because it's a museum. You know that?
That's awesome.
They literally can't tear down Fenway. Even if they go and get a new stadium, they can't tear it down. It's a museum.
See, I didn't know that. That's nuts.
Yeah, I learned that on a tour of Fenway. I didn't get to go on the field on the tour because they were just prepping it for the season. But I got to go like inside the monster and
cool.
around and whatever. Yeah, it was a fun time. But
I want to try that out.
Yeah. Keep going with. I didn't mean to steal your.
No, you're good. Don't worry about it. According to Statistia, which is basically a website that is the internet's leading statistic database, MLB ranks second in average attendance, only behind the NFL in America. And this is in 2019, so the last time when fans were allowed. So obviously people are still going to baseball games. You know, the only other sport that's bigger is NFL, which is obviously
that's the big
most
dog of professional sports.
That's the big dog. You know, obviously the baseball's not going to pass NFL, but it shows that people are still going to baseball games. Like people are still there.
It's a weird thing to think about because the MLB has a lot of dead teams.
Yeah,
right. Like people go to Jaguars games. Like they usually fill out that stadium. You look at Baltimore nowadays. Nobody's going to that stadium as awesome as it was. I went there. It was great.
I know. I got to go there so bad, man. That's like
Camden Yards is great.
Camden Yards, man.
But
go O's.
It's dead.
Loved it. Oh, I know. That's why I want to go now. It's dead. There's tickets are so cheap, man. I'm hoping I can get a trip there this summer. Hopefully, we'll see.
So I really have a tough time understanding where You bring up that stat, but I don't have a hard time understanding where people are coming from when you're saying it's a dead sport or a dying sport. I do understand.
Right.
Um, when you look at the TV and you see nobody at the game, that poses a problem
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of people in your case where you're trying to defend baseball. No, it's still a fantastic sport, and people look on TV like, oh, nobody's there.
Right.
This must not be so good. Like you're losing the casuals. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
I mean,
saying?
and that's the problem. Is that the casual fans aren't into it because baseball, like growing up, you learn so much. Like if you're like a diehard baseball fan, you learn so much more thing. People like my friends are like friend group. They're like, oh, baseball is not really a hard sport. Like blah blah
Oh,
blah. It's like
that's not true.
baseball.
Hitting a baseball is probably the hardest thing
They're
you can
like,
do as
oh,
a
you don't
human.
have to. Yeah, you don't have to be in shape or whatever. It's like you have to be in incredible shape. Where do the people who aren't in shape play? They usually play first base, like
Or pitcher
like
if
a
you're
short.
Bartolo Colon.
Yeah, big
Yeah.
sexy. That's my guy. I love Martel Cologne, but baseball, you have to be so athletic, man. Like, it's a lot more than people think it is, and like, unless you play baseball, you really don't know because you're seeing, oh, Prince Fielder or Big Poppy, like they're not in shape. You know what I
The
mean?
big Poppy can hit that ball over the fence. To tell you that right
But the
now.
thing is, too, it's like I always thought, oh, they were fat, like they were too big, and then you like look up like off-season workouts they do. They're just big. Like that's just how they are. Like they're still in shape. It's not like they're like not, they're eating Whoppers
Pablo
every day.
Sandoval is the baseball player that's out of shape.
Yeah, well, Pablo Sandoval is an idiot and ruined his career, but yes, yes. And then really the only last argument I had was like baseball was second to only football with $10 billion for the like
Revenue.
biggest industries. Right? Yeah,
Revenue.
revenue.
Right.
So baseball's still making money, man. Like there's
And
still
I did
there's
tell you a lot of
still
that is from the
business.
network deals that they get.
Yes, exactly. So they're still making money. They're still in there. The only other team that's up there the only other organization is NFL, which that's obviously they're not going to pass
I think the
NFL. I
next
mean,
closest was the Premier Leagues in
yes,
in Europe.
yeah, and that's crazy that an MLB makes more than them. That's crazy. Like I thought MLB would be a lot lower, and then when I saw that there were two, I was like, wow. Also, like, my closing statement is like, especially newer kids growing up. Like, I have a cousin who's starting to get into baseball, and the newer kids are loving. Some of my favorite players. For example, we're gonna go Tim Anderson, incredible. The atmosphere he brings to the game. Fernando Tatis Jr., who's just signed that contract.
Yep.
Like their attitude towards the game, they're changing it. My favorite pitcher, Marcus Stroman. Like just those are something. I think that having more of those personalities are definitely going to help raise the sport up again to get back. But Rob Manfred's got to go too. I mean, he's really ruining the MLB, but it's not dying in my opinion. I mean, there's proof right there. Um, that's my closing thoughts, pretty much.
Yep. I get to say. My argument was I was playing devil's advocate to you because I'm kind of in the same boat as you,
Mhm.
but I gave you the opportunity and you shined. So good job.
I try.
Pat in the back.
I try.
But we're gonna move on to what's the next on topic? What do we got? We
What do we
have
got?
Dak Prescott.
Mm-hmm.
Get the bag, my friend. 4 years, $160 million, 126 guaranteed. Just kind of run through this contract details here. Potential out in 2023. Even though it's not really a potential out, if they cut him, he's still eating $26 million in dead cap.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dak Prescott's making $75 million in his first year, and then it kind of averages out. At the end, he makes about 34, and that's when you either restructure or Dak tells them to go screw themselves again. I think this is a good deal for Dak.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that he's playing for the Cowboys. But I think Dak is well deserving of this money, and I think he's going to do great things for Dallas in the next 4 years, so long as he doesn't break his ankle again. What's your general thoughts on Dak Prescott
I mean,
and the deal?
I've always liked Dak. Shot at my fancy quarterback last year before he
Yep,
basically
me
died.
too. I drafted him in pretty much all my leagues because I felt like
Yeah,
he was going to win the MVP.
he probably would have, or he would have been top two if he didn't get hurt. I personally think. The contract is insane. It's a lot of money. I mean, the Cowboys
Especially for
have
that
it.
first year.
Yes, exactly. You know, I still don't see Cowboys ever winning anything with him. I don't. You know, especially because all the money they're giving him, they're not going to be able to get as many, players and things like that now. I mean, I think it's a great contract for him, especially after coming that injury, because who knows how he'll be after this. I hope he comes back great because I like Dak, but they're not going to win anything. It doesn't really matter. They're just going to be maybe a wild card team for 4 years, if that.
If you were the
So,
Cowboys, would you paid him?
yeah, I mean, I think you have to keep him, especially because since the QB market is so kind of trashy lately, the last couple of
And you're
years. There's
probably not
only
going to get Russell Wilson as much as he wants to.
Right.
May want
And,
to leave.
Dak is basically Russell Wilson almost. I know people are be like, what? But Dak's probably a little worse than Russell Wilson is.
I'd
But
probably
maybe
call him
could be
better.
better this year. Yeah, it's either like a little bit worse or a little bit better. It depends on your look of it. And I mean, they had to pay him, but I did not expect that much money out of him. So
Yeah, and I think they'll win the division next year so long as they surround them with talent. Because when you look around that division, Washington, you don't really know yet. You got to see who the quarterback is. The Eagles, I have no faith in them. So I don't. And
no.
then the Giants, who I think are still pretty far away, and they think Daniel Jones is still their franchise quarterback. And Giants fans deserve this. I'm sorry, Patriots fan here. You robbed me of 2 Super Bowls. Here's your death. But I hope Dave Gettleman signs a lifetime contract because he's doing wonders for me and that team. But yeah, I think the Cowboys are, as long as they're healthy again and they can do some good things this offseason and address the defense, have a good draft, maybe draft the tight end, maybe get Kyle Pitts out of Florida, that he'd be perfect there. If they surround Dak Prescott with some solid talent, build the team a little bit, make sure you're not going to have the same issues you had last year, they're a lock for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
They're an absolute lock. They're winning the division. After that, who knows? It's a loaded NFC.
It's true.
But yeah, any other thoughts on Dak or the Cowboys or?
Not much. I mean, yeah. I mean, they'll probably win the division. I mean, the NFC was the East. Yeah, that division is
I just ran
absolutely
through it.
beyond
They're all
awful.
garbage.
Yeah.
I think
So,
Washington
like,
has a chance to be really good so long as they get the quarterback right.
yeah. I mean, I think Dak will lead them to probably a couple division titles, but they're not going to go to the Super Bowl or anything. No.
He has
Like,
one
no
career playoff
way.
win against was that Seattle that year? I think
Probably.
I think they beat Seattle at home if I'm not mistaken.
Wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, it probably is. But yeah, I mean, they might win a couple playoff games here and there, but they're not going to go to the title. They're not going to win a Super Bowl with them. I like Dak. I would like to see him to win one, but not with the Cowboys.
Hold on, I'm
Come
gonna
in
look
Denver,
up
please.
who he played that 2018 playoff game. He then went 10-6 in 2018, and they made the playoffs. I want to say that they beat Seattle at home. Yeah, they beat Seattle at home 24-22, and then they lost to the Rams in Los Angeles 30-22.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
Dak had a pretty good game that game.
Yeah, he's not bad. Like,
He
I like Dak, so.
he threw 22 of 33, 226, a touchdown, and then he ran for one at the end there. I do remember that. Yeah, Dak's not bad.
No, not at all.
He's going to be a top 5 quarterback this year. I think it's a
I
lock.
mean, he could be an MVP candidate if he comes back healthy, I think. He was
Yeah, me
on the
too.
pace last year.
He's definitely winning comeback player of the year. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But that's it for the Dak discussion. Now we're going to roll into what was that? The franchise tag review. All right. So, here's the game we're going to play, Andrew, if you're willing to come along with me here. I'm gonna name all the teams that got franchise tagged. All the players that used all the teams that used the franchise tag on players, and you're gonna tell me if it was a good tag or not. I'll even name the players that didn't get tagged that we thought might, and
Mhm.
you tell me if it was a good decision or not. You in
Yep.
with me?
Got it.
Your team is first. Broncos safety
Yes,
Justin
sir.
Simmons got the franchise tag. Good tag or bad tag?
Fantastic. Love Justin Simmons. Probably the only good uh, secondary player we have currently. He loves Denver. Wants to stay here. He's still pretty young. I think he can definitely be. I mean, I think he is a top three safety in the NFL. That's just my opinion, but he could definitely be he definitely could become the best if he keeps playing like he did, especially after last year. He had a fantastic year. He's probably really the only. Him and Chubb were probably the only good defenders he really had last year. So great.
Simmons
I
is
like it.
27, and he got
Yeah,
5 picks last year.
yeah. He's
Solid.
he's he's a steal, man. I'm happy we kept him
How much you willing to pay for him when it comes contract time?
as much as he wants. I mean, dude, honestly, I mean, what do we got to lose? We're not going to win anything. Keep our best defender, you know. I mean, obviously nothing crazy, but just try to find a happy medium. But I say we pay him little more than we should. He's worth it. Obviously, he's worth the money. So,
All right. Next person. Jet safety Marcus May.
I mean, it's not a bad franchise tag. I mean, what do the Jets have to lose? you know, like what else are they gonna franchise tag? Um, I don't know exactly all of his stats. I know he's not a horrible safety.
I'll take a look for you.
I know he's not like terrible. So in all honesty, it's probably not bad.
Marcus May stats. All right. Marcus May had 2 picks last year, 2 sacks, and 88 tackles.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. It's for the Jets, it's not a bad franchise tag. So I'd
Might
say
as
yeah,
well.
it's good.
You
Yeah,
don't
it's
want to
Jets.
lose. You don't want to lose Jamal Adams and
No,
Marcus May.
no, you don't.
All right. Next up, Washington guard Brandon Schreff, one of the better offensive guards in the league. I think it's a good signing, or for good
Yeah,
tag.
I mean he's a fantastic guard, and it's Washington. They need, especially with now Alex Smith is gone. They need all that protection they can, to not have that moment happen again. So definitely, I would say good signing. Yes.
Yep, and I just wonder who they're going to get at quarterback. I think their ideal spot is get Cam, trade up for Lance. If they do that, Washington's
Yeah.
going to be in a good spot, 100%. But who knows what's going to happen to Cam this offseason.
Yeah. No idea.
All right, Buccaneers wide receiver Chris Godwin.
Honestly, that was kind of surprising to me.
Who do you think they were going to get? Or do they think they're going to
I
use
thought they're just. They have so many players they have to re-sign. I didn't.
him,
I thought
Sue,
yeah,
Barrett?
So I thought maybe one of them, like him or Sue or something, would leave. They wouldn't pay him, but I think it's a good signing. I mean, Brady, he's
Loves him.
Loves them. Yeah, and they're trying to keep the team together and repeat. So overall, I think it's a good signing too. All these so far have been pretty great signings in my opinion.
Yep, they opted to use it on Godwin instead of Shaq Barrett a second time.
Yeah, I don't know. Shaq Barrett, man, God, I wish he was on our team, but they got to keep Shaq Barrett, man, especially after the Super Bowl performance. He's got to stay.
That defensive line was no joke this
Oh, that defense
this
line is
playoffs.
ridiculous.
And again, they played a backup offensive line in Kansas
Yeah.
City, and they played David Bakhtiari's backup in Green Bay. But yeah, that team desperately needs to stay together because, as
Yes.
Brady said, he thinks this team's only gonna get better.
Yeah, which is stupid. It's just dumb. Like, stop being so good, man. Just retire already.
Hey, say for yourself. I'd love to see Brady go win another.
I
cup.
mean, yeah, I love Brady now too.
If it
so,
came down to Patriots versus Bucks, I'm pulling for the Pats, but I don't think it's gonna come down to that outside of the regular season game
No.
this year. So, give me Tampa all the way. But Jaguars tackle Cam Robinson. Jaguars fans were up in about this one. Jaguars fans
Yeah,
thought that
I
he
mean,
was just about an average tackle, wasn't worth the franchise tag, but a lot of them are saying, well, who else were you going to get? You might as well.
and that's what my conclusion. It's like the Jets. Who else are you gonna franchise tag? You know what I mean? Like, may as well keep your players who are at least above average. The Jaguars don't have anybody on offense really, besides what was that running back's name? Can't remember his name now. Robinson. So
James Robinson.
he's
They do have DJ Chark
Robinson.
and
Shout out,
Keelan
carry my
Cole.
fantasy team this year. Well, DJ, yeah, DJ Chark is good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't see him staying in Jacksonville. So, um, no, I think it's not a bad signing. I don't. I get why Jaguar fans are 50-50 about it, but they're the Jags, man.
All right. Next up, we have the Bears. Not the Bears. The Giants using their tag on Leonard Williams. That's a weird one.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Um,
He's been an okay defensive
didn't really.
tackle, but Giants fans are kind of sick of all the investment on the defensive line. They have like 6 defensive tackles or something stupid. Kind of like the
Right.
Brewers and outfielders, but
Yeah, I was about to say that.
you know what? Another one of those. You don't have it. You don't have to use it on anybody else. Leonard Williams is fine. If you have the space, do it. And that's kind of what they did. Leonard Williams is the guy they didn't want to let leave, and they tagged him up. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm 100% agree with that.
Something a little more interesting. Bears wide receiver Allen Robinson. He clearly doesn't want to be in Chicago.
Yeah,
He said it over and over again. I want to go win a ring. Chicago's not it. Get me out. And now he's stuck there. And teams are trying to trade for him. The Bears just aren't listening. If you're Allen Robinson, you're pissed. This is the worst news you possibly could have got.
yeah,
Kind of reminds me of a story about Asante Samuel. He got tagged by the Patriots. And he rolled up to like the stadium and Brady's like dapping him up or whatever. And Asante Samuel's like, beat it. And he goes in the Bills' office and he's like, you're going to cut me right now. Like, I'm not signing this. You're going to rescind that franchise tag and you're going to let me walk. And Bill did it.
I forgot about that.
It was something along those lines in the interview I saw.
Yeah.
Allen Robinson's got to be in the same boat, right?
Yeah, obviously he doesn't want to play there. I don't blame him for not wanting to stay in Chicago. Why would you want to stay there? You know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't know what he does at this point. Like, do you just say, are you doing a Watson thing where you're like, I'm not
I
playing
did see
here?
a rumor that
Or-
they're gonna make a boatload off for Russell Wilson or Watson pretty soon. It just came across my phone like 3 seconds ago.
Dude, that would be crazy.
Maybe then Robinson would want to stay.
Yeah, and then I think Robinson would stay if they get like Russell Wilson or Watson.
Yep.
Yes, they have a legit quarterback there, so and he'll be the top target. So I think you should wait a little bit, see what happens, and if they have like Trubisky starting,
If
try
by
to
the
get out
draft
there.
they haven't improved, get out.
Yeah, get out of there.
And he's
soon as
said that
possible.
he's willing to sit games. So
Right. Yeah, I would say get out there as soon as possible if they don't get the two quarterback.
Right, we got-
Wilson.
we got
Wilson.
2 more, and then we're gonna move on because the next segment is pretty long and we're getting pretty close. Panthers offensive tackle Taylor Moton again. What else are you gonna use?
Right, Panthers. Yep.
What are we gonna do? Taylor Morton's a fine tackle. Might as well sign him up again.
Right.
And then the guy who was on the other end of the Minnesota Miracle, Saints safety Marcus Williams. He's played pretty well.
Mhm.
They decided to cut Manuel Sanders. There was nobody else they really could use a tag on. Might as well.
Yep.
In a lot of situations, these franchise tags, it's might as well.
Right.
Who else
Pretty
were you
much.
going to use it on? You didn't really want to lose him. It's kind of a free 1-year deal. Again, you're paying him decent money, but it's a 1-year deal. And some notable players that didn't get it. Joe Tooney. He got it last year. Patriots weren't going to give it to him again. The Lions missed out on 2, Romeo Okwara and Kenny Galladay. Lions fans were shocked that Kenny Galladay didn't get tagged.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And the Seahawks didn't use it on Shaquille Griffin. But we're off with the franchise tag conversation. Now this is kind of like my baseball isn't dying segment. New England Patriots are they've made their mark on this offseason that they're going to be busy. On Tuesday they traded for offensive tackle Trent Brown for literally nothing. They gave up a 5th round pick next year for Trent Brown in the 7th. And Trent Brown even reworked his contract to where he would be making $11 million for 1 year, and then he's a free agent again. Similar to the situation he had the first time he was in New England, we won the Super Bowl. I'm not used to Belichick being so active. And now this might apply to the quarterback situation. If you guys don't know me yet, you've never heard me talk, I think Andrew can tell you which quarterback I want on my team next year.
Dude, I wouldn't know, man.
Any guess?
No, I have no idea.
Really?
The man, Jimmy G, man.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Every episode is Jimmy G.
I have to mention him at some point, right? Or else it's not my podcast. Jimmy Garoppolo is the guy I want. And guess who's plan A for the Patriots, reportedly, this offseason?
Jimmy G.
Jimmy Garoppolo. The Patriots are busy, dude.
Oh.
And personally, I'm willing to overpay for Jimmy G. In all honesty. If we got to give up a 1st-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo, that's a good day. I'll do it. No problem. 1st-round pick. I know that's more than what we gave him up for, but Jimmy G was unproven then. He might be unproven now. He made it to Super Bowl. I mean, come on. But Jimmy G is absolutely the guy the Patriots need. And, yeah, I just kind of want to spend the next 4 minutes or so kind of talking about what I think the Patriots should do, and Andrew can just kind of critique me on my rambling about Patriots football.
Try my best, man.
But, yeah, let's just dive right into it. Stephon Gilmore, I wrote an article yesterday. Odds are he's gone. And I say this wearing my Stephon Gilmore jersey. It sucks, but the injury last year, he's got 1 more year left on his deal. He won a Defensive Player of the Year award 2 years ago, but we have J.C. Jackson coming up. He's got to go. We can't keep them both. J.C. Jackson's going to want big money here pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you trade away Gilmore. You get like a high-end 2nd-round pick, which I think is about what I don't think you get a 1st-round pick out of him. You might have been able to last year. Or maybe at the midpoint of this year. But teams weren't going for it. So, yeah, you got to... This Patriots team is definitely in need of, like, a retool. Like, I don't know if it's a rebuild. A lot of people say it's a rebuild. I don't know if it's a rebuild. I think this is just a thing that the Patriots just need to, like, kind of put in new... I think the system's still the same. The whole idea of the Patriot way and paying players little and having them play big, I think there's still something to that. Trent Brown took less money to play in New England. I know, you know that narrative that people aren't going to take less money to play in New England anymore because Brady's not there. It's not true. Trent Brown just did.
Right.
Yeah, I really just... The Patriots have money to spend, and I hope they go after somebody. You know what I mean? There's got to be, like, Kenny Galladay. If we got Kenny Galladay as our number 1 receiver, I'm okay with that. I'm pretty happy with that. If our offensive line right now is fantastic, Isaiah Wynn... You move Owenu, who was a breakout last year. You put him at left guard. Center, you keep David Andrews. Right guard, you got Shaq Mason. Right tackle, now you have Trent Brown. That's a top 4 offensive line in the league. Am I mistaken?
No, I mean, I agree with that. Yeah.
And then you get Kenny Galladay. Jacoby Myers keeps playing well. And N'Keal Harry's rumored to be traded, which is awesome. Yeah. I don't know what stupid team wants to take him on, but go for it. Dude is literally just the next coming of Aaron Dobson.
Yeah.
You get a real tight end. If we got Kyle Pitts in the draft, that's a perfect offseason. Mediocre. If you get mediocre quarterback play, if Jimmy Garoppolo is just mediocre, we're a playoff team. We lost like 4 games last year strictly off of quarterback play being not there. If Brady's on this team, we might win the division and go back to the playoffs. Losing the wild card round, of course, but this team would still be fine. I really think that Patriots fans shouldn't be going crazy about this team's going to suck. I don't think this is the case anymore. I think Bill Belichick has finally woken up and he has money to spend and he's going to go after whoever the hell he wants because he's Bill Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this is your worst nightmare, but the Empire's striking back, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, there's just certain little tiny things that Patriots need to add, and they'll be fine. But I don't hate the Patriots, man. It's just like I hated, not you. I just hated Patriots fans. It's kind of like how Green Bay is. Don't want to hate the Packers as I'm from Wisconsin.
Except you hate Aaron Rodgers a lot.
I just don't like Rodgers. I don't like about 85% of the fan base. That's the problem.
And you hate Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I want to make
like,
that known. Yet you hate Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
The nicest guy in the league.
Oh God! Don't even get me started. Anyways, but no, I mean like it's Bill Belichick, man. He's gonna find a way to do something. That he's the greatest coach.
This is the first time in a while he's had money.
Exactly. I mean, the Broncos are in the same way. We have like $50 million to spend. I'm like, dude, we better do something. Like, what are we doing over here? We got $50 million to spend. Let's get into it. Like, let's go. I haven't heard much news.
I have a feeling we're going to be in a bidding war for some guys.
Oh yeah, 100%. I yes, for sure. So it's going to be a weird offseason, man. I mean, the Patriots could be a wild card team this year. I don't know if they'll be division winners, but
Buffalo is pretty damn good, and Miami's on the come up.
Buffalo's probably going to win the division still.
And Miami's on the come up.
I mean, you also, I mean, you can hate Buffalo, but I love Buffalo.
I hate
man.
Buffalo.
They're awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm a Bronco fan. I hate the Chiefs and Raiders, and I hate the Chargers. I don't really like them, but
they're kind of like the Jets. They're like the Jets to me. Like the Jets are the Jets.
Yeah, the Chargers are like the Jets. Like,
except, actually, I do have some hatred for the Jets because of that early 2000s where they thought they were good.
Yeah, what fumble?
The Dolphins are probably closer to the Jets for me, or closer to the Chargers to you. Except the Dolphins are actually good. The Chargers aren't.
Yes. True.
I do have a lot of love for Miami. Brian Flores is a guy, but yeah. That's basically my Patriots thoughts. I didn't get to go too much of a rant there, but in the final 2 minutes, this is our closing segment that I had come up with this time. Me and Andrew have prepared six of the most forgettable tenures in league history. And what I mean by forgettable tenures is not like Big Papi on the Twins. That's where he started at. Like that's not forgettable, really. We're talking about like players that like got old and just went to some random team and nobody really remembers that they were there. And me and Andrew have each prepared three, so you get 6. We'll go one by one. Andrew, drop yours first. Drop your number one first, and then we'll go back and forth.
Number 1 is my favorite player of all time. Reason I'm a Bronco fan. Personally, think he's probably second greatest corner of all time. Champ Bailey to the Saints. I still forget about it to this day. I actually found a card. I should have brought it on here. I forgot a card that was like a Photoshop of Champ Bailey on the practice squad for the Saints. Didn't play a game with them.
He didn't play a game with them.
I think it was like in 2 preseason games and got cut. So yeah, but he was there.
And I'll drop my first one. Patriots legend Wes Welker. Wes Welker played in 2015 with the St. Louis Rams. He played 8 games. He had 22 targets for 13 catches, 102 yards. He was 34 years old. Like he was like on the verge of retiring. Like that was like the end of Wes Welker.
Probably had like a 20th concussion too.
Yep, he probably had the inflated helmet. But Wes Welker, one of my favorite players. Wish he won a ring with us in 2007 or 11. But yeah, Wes Welker was a Ram. Did you guys know that? Your turn.
Second one is Terrell Owens to the Seahawks. Honestly, never knew he was on the Seahawks in my life. Never knew he was there, and it's really weird to think Terrell Owens in the Seahawks uniform. Don't know how many. I forgot how many games he played for Seahawks. So I don't
Not
think it really
one.
much. Yeah.
I'm looking at
but
it
it's
right
just
now. He didn't play a single game with the Seahawks.
yeah, which is it's like Champ Bailey basically with the Saints. So yeah, but 12-1 Seahawks. Weird, right?
My next one, he's probably the most famous player on this list, on either of our lists. Brett Favre, when he first came out of retirement, a lot of people just assume like, oh, he went to the Vikings and like he, faced the Packers twice a year and all that. No, he actually went to the Jets in 2008, and we had the opportunity to have Brady versus Favre twice a year, but you know what happened to Brady that year?
What happened?
Blew his ACL. Brady missed that whole year, and Brett Favre played for the New York Jets. They went 9-7, missed the playoffs. He threw for 3,472 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 22 picks. It's a whatever season. And then the next year, he's like, you know what? Screw this. We're going to Minnesota. And he went 12-4. Obviously, made the conference championship. Actually, wait. The Jets did make the playoffs that year. I apologize. They went to the playoff. No, I'm lying. Never mind. I hate this app. But yeah, they went 9-7. I'm sorry. I screwed that up. But yeah, Brett Favre on the Jets. God, what a time to be alive that was, huh? Back in Favre Watch days, I didn't even care about football at that point for Favre Watch. I was like 6 years old.
Right.
Your turn.
I remember before I end quick. I remember getting that Madden cover with the Jets on it. Like you could get the Jets, or you could go trade it in for $10 more. Yeah, see, because he was that's when he retired with the Packers, and you could go to like GameStop. It was like $10 more. You could get the Jets version.
The Jets Favre.
I was like, I don't care enough. I just play Madden. I don't look at the case. Let me just play it. I was like, I'm good. Lastly, the last one for me, I have Jerry Rice for the Broncos. Didn't play a game. He retired. He retired with the Broncos when he was 42. He made the Broncos 53-man roster, but he wasn't projected to really play. Mm-hmm. So he retired. He called it quit and retired 49er. So I want to get a Jerry Rice jersey, but because he's on the Broncos for like practice squad, that was about it. Practicing, that was about it. So I always
kind of like Reggie Wayne on the Patriots.
Yeah,
or Eric Decker on the Patriots. He played preseason and then it was done.
Jerry Rice Broncos. You dude was 42 at the time too. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Wide receiver.
Like retire, man.
My last one is Darrelle Revis. He made his last payday with the Jets. He played there for 2 years, got cut. Went to the Kansas City Chiefs in 2017. He did absolutely nothing. He had 11 tackles. He had two passes defended, and he played in 5 games. Revis, I have a Patriot jersey. Revis, I loved him in that one season he played with us. Revis is like, he's probably my pick for the second best corner in the league behind Primetime. Him and Champ are right there. Him and Champ are right there. For me.
Yeah.
But I'll take Revis.
Yeah.
I'll take Revis out.
I can counter that. That's not bad. I can agree with it.
We ran 3 minutes over an hour. We had no problem doing it this time. But
no,
yeah, that was the show for you guys. If you guys have any forgettable tenures, feel free to drop them in the comments or send them to us. Andrew, any parting thoughts?
No, just appreciate everybody still continuing to watch the show and supporting. We always appreciate it.
Share it around.
It's nice to always see likes and comments and things like that. And appreciate the support.
Share it around with your friends and family. Even if they're not into sports, I think we're a little bit fun. My Nana watches this. She doesn't even like sports, and she watches this weekly. So that's the show for you guys. We'll be back next week, hopefully with some more stuff for you guys. But until then, stay safe, stay well, and we'll be back next Thursday.